Good day. So the next question we're going to look at on the January 2020 paper is number 32, speed, distance, and time. So unlike perimeter area and volume formulas, speed, distance, and time formulas aren't given on the formula sheet. So the formula for speed is distance over time. That's how we short it as, but sometimes they will say average speed, which will be the total distance traveled over total time taken. That's just a variation of the formula. They won't always ask you for speed though. They could ask you for distance, in which case we cross multiply and distance will be speed by time, or they could ask you for time, in which case we divide both sides by speed and time will be distance over speed. Again, this is the main formula and you can derive these two from it. So let me come back to this question here now. It took a speedboat 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080 kilometers. What was its average speed? So speed is distance over time. The speedboat's the time it take was 9 hours. The distance it covered was 1,080 kilometers. So the distance is 1,080 over 9. And from tables, 12 nines are 108. So adding an extra 0 to that, it will be 120. Same idea for number 34. We're going to look at number 34 one time. They combine this sometimes with the 24-hour clock. So the aircraft leaves at 1600 hours. So in the 24-hour clock, after 12, so 1300 hours will really be 1 p.m., 1400 hours, 2 p.m., 1500 hours, and so on. So 1600 hours, 16 minus 12, this is really 4 p.m. if you want to look at it that way, and arrives at 1930 minus 12, 7:30 p.m. Or could I just use the numbers as is here? 1600 to 1900 is 3.5 hours. Same thing from 4 to 7:30, 3.5 hours. And the average speed is 550 kilometers. Same time zone means they didn't cross the Greenwich Meridian, which is just something they'll put. They'll never have that situation in these questions. It's just for continuity's sake. So the distance, again we're using the formula for distance, which was speed by time. When we rearrange the formula, the speed is 550 kilometers per hour, multiply by the time, which is 3.5 hours or 3.5 hours, however you want to do it. This is what I need to multiply out. You could use your fractions. However you do it, the answer going to end up as 1925. And if you wanted to see it, I would have changed 3.5. Might be better to use that. 326,117 over 2 times 550 over 1. 2 into this, I'm going to get 275 by 7. And when I multiply it out, because yes, that might have to be the working that you're doing. 7 7 is 49, add 3 is 52, 7 2 is 14, add 5, 1925, right? But that's what you have to do. And again, they have some others specifically that I want to look at. Same idea here. A car travels 80 kilometers in 2.5 hours. What's its speed? So again, the formula for speed is distance over time. Distance is 80 kilometers. The time is 2.5 hours. And if you're having trouble with that, I could change these things from improper fractions to mixed numbers. So 2 2's 4 is 1, 5 over 2. So it's going to be 80 over 1. I do divide fractions. I flip and multiply. 5 into 80, 16 twos, so I'm going to get 32 kilometers an hour. Sorry, I know the rain drowning me out a little bit here, but I just want to finish this measurement video on speed before we move on to something else. So it's very similar to the last one we looked at, which was this one here, number 34. A man started a journey at 9:30 a.m. and arrived at his destination in the same time zone at 13:30, which is really 1:30 p.m. Or you can see the difference between 13 and 9 is 4 hours. So the time will be 4 hours. His average speed was 30 kilometers an hour. They want very similar to this one, distance again. So the formula for distance is speed by time. And I now realize I didn't put any answers for this one, but we'll check it back a little bit later. So speed by time, the speed is 30, the time would be again 13:30 minus 9:30, or in other words 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. is 4 hours. So the distance would have been 120 kilometers. Sorry, I forget all the answer for this one, but one of those would have been 120 kilometers. So before we move on, to have two more I want to look at, very similar. The boy leaves home at 9:15 a.m. and arrives to school at 10:05. If he travels non-stop, what will be his speed? Same idea. You can check it out and try it yourself. And they also have some where they bring only the 24-hour clock. So in this one, pilot 2300 hours will be 11 p.m. and he reached his destination at 3 a.m. the next day. How many hours did the flight take? So from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., 4 hours. So that's why the answer was A as well.